They're turning us into animals. British chef creates burgers that taste like human flesh. The official story is they're doing it for The Walking Dead's 5th season. But we all know that it's just another example of predictive programming. I recently did a video on a new movie called Horns with Daniel Radcliffe. I did this video on my other channel called The Scariest Movie Ever. In that video, I uncovered one of the most intriguing and complex rituals I've ever seen play out on a movie screen before, or a TV screen or whatever, but it's the first time I've ever seen it play out quite like that. I also felt it might be important for me to talk this one out a little bit, just to kind of break it down and show you moment by moment what was going on there. Check this out. Before we get right into it, I wanted to cover just a little bit of history here. This is actually the cover of the Rolling Stones album called Undercover, and it was released back in 1983. So it's been around for a long time, and this is just one example of many I could show you, but I just wanted to point this one out here, just so you can understand that there is a long history to the so-called Illuminati symbolism. And even with the Illuminati symbolism, that's just kind of a catch-all phrase for a lot of things. Zionists, Rosicrucians, Jesuits, Freemasons, I mean, you name it. It's all part of that, what I just call the beast system, just to make it simple. So all that being said, just take a look right here. Again, from 1983, right there in the middle you can see the pyramid, and just above it you've got the eye. And even more interesting, you have the eye with a small sun symbol underneath it, kind of an Osiris reference, but also the fact that it's inside of a cube. Now, I'm not the biggest Saturn researcher out there, but I do understand the significance of the cube with this occult language to some degrees. I also thought it was interesting that right there on the lower right hand corner you see the leopard, so I kind of wonder if that's not some kind of a symbol for the leopard that's mentioned in the Bible. We're beginning to see this so-called beast system expose itself even more. You're seeing these symbols now all over the place, right? There are many reasons for all of this so-called Illuminati symbolism showing up in films and commercials and TV shows and even clothes. All over the place we're seeing this stuff. I mean, one part of that is that this is all part of the awakening. This is all part of the fifth age. We're very close to this. The end of the age of man. And yes, some of these symbols can have power. It all depends on the intentions of the persons, or in some cases entities, that placed them there. But at the same time, I also believe that a big part of my work is unlocking this stuff. I'm not the only one doing this, but I believe that those of us who are doing this are doing it because once you understand the symbols and you can see them, they can no longer have whatever kind of intended effect they're supposed to have on you. The beast system, the Antichrist system, the Zionists, the Illuminati, whatever label we want to put on them, but they also put a lot of these rituals on film right before our eyes as a part of lesser magic. In other words, they kind of have to tell you what they're doing before they do it. It makes us all a part of the spell, all a part of the plan. Some of my subscribers had pointed out a few other things here, and of course I believe you can all see it as well. In one of the horns posters right here you actually have of course the all-seeing eye, the one-eye symbol, and then you've got the upside down cross right there. And then on this poster you have the obvious demon, and then of course underneath there with horns you can find 3 sixes. The opening sequence begins by showing the lead character with his girlfriend in a beautiful field, but then the camera starts going into the earth and it begins to emerge right here. This whole sequence was the first example of as above, so below. Another example of this occult concept playing out in the public is how you'll often find these reflecting pools in front of obelisks. Also in this scene, it's important to take notice of the fact that the lead character is wearing red and he's lying in a dead position on a black and white tiled floor. Now this goes back to the idea of blood sacrifices in Masonic lodges. Another excellent example of this concept is the album cover Blood on the Dance Floor by Michael Jackson. So the next part of this video to take notice of is right here, kind of lower center screen. You see they have a painting there. It's actually sitting upside down. When you watch this entire sequence play out, you can see that. So in that painting, of course, it's a pyramid right there with a huge sun. Now, I can't remember which one of my subscribers pointed this out in my original video, but they had a great point, because if you look at it on the right side of that picture, our right, if you flip that upside down, again, you've got a pyramid with a sun symbol in the center, which is another very common symbol we'll find for the so-called Illuminati or Zionists or whatever you want to call them. And with that same concept playing out in that picture, again, you've got another representation of duality. Now, duality goes back to the black and white checkered floors in the Mason lodges, and also with the concept of as above, so below. From there, the camera fully tilts around, again with this concept of as above, so below, turning everything kind of right side up now. So as the lead character stands up, he puts on a yellow hoodie. Once again, the yellow is symbolic for the sun, a connection with Lucifer. So he walks over to a wall of records, chooses one, and plays it. And it turns out to be an album from David Bowie, and the song is called Heroes. So once again, it's symbolic of Lucifer, the light bearer, or the Antichrist, the hero. The Antichrist will be seen as a hero, as a savior. And this right here was the last scene of that sequence, and it really hammered the point home. They literally played out kind of a ritual on camera for us to see. He's framed up perfectly in front of a V. The V is the 5, the V is the 5th age, the age of Aquarius, the time of the Antichrist, the last age of man. And at the same time, we have the sun illuminating his face. Folks, this was not an accident. I know how heavy this kind of stuff is. I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand. A lot of times I need confirmations when I find things like this. One thing that I didn't show in the original video is on the same day that I found this sequence from Horns, I found something else very interesting. Check this out. Earlier in the day I had seen an episode of South Park, and this is a short sequence where one of the characters is cleaning out a cabinet, but I want you to see what I saw in here. So there it was. Did you see it? Let's back up. Alright, here we go. Check it out. Okay, there it is. You can see it right there, right? Now, can you see what I see? Again, I saw this on the same day that I found that sequence on Horns, and what you see right there is an upside down pyramid with a sun symbol. So again, we've got that representation of duality. If you flip that right side up, you're going to have your so-called Illuminati pyramid with a sun symbol. And here's just one more thing to kind of add to it. The sequence goes by so fast it's really hard to see this. A lot of times whenever we find occult symbols or language and things, we need confirmations. Sometimes you'll find more than one thing, like in the episode or in the movie. So right here to the right, I thought it was interesting with the cheesy poofs. It almost looks like that could be kind of a nod to Saturn as well. Hey, thanks for watching.